It's a greater pleasure to not need pleasure than to actually have it. Because the beauty of being beyond pleasure is that you can actually truly enjoy it. But when you're obsessed with pleasure, then it becomes this cycle of pleasure and pain. But when you realize that the pleasure belongs to God, then you have no problems. You see, a lot of people run away from pleasure. They think it's a bad thing. But actually, God, in a sense, is eternal sex. And I know that sounds crazy, but sex is a process of two coming into union. And the process of creation and then destruction to create anew is the process of sex. In a sense that the beauty of God and Brahman or Shiva and Shakti is that God is Shakti and Brahman is Shiva. The beauty of that truth is that you realize that there's nothing wrong in the union of two people. But the problem with that is that you notice how Shiva and Shakti, they're not attached to their own play. The play is within and of itself, in a sense, it's constantly creating anew. But the problem with you is that instead of having a spiritual union, you make sex this important thing that you need. You make a partner something that you need. And this is how attachments happen and arguments happen, because instead of putting peace first, people are putting their egos first. But the beauty of not needing sex or not needing a partner is that you really only have a problem when you have a need. Because when you need something, then you have a problem. You don't have food, now you have a problem. But when you don't need anything, you don't have a problem. When you don't need a partner, you don't have a problem. Before you met that person who broke your heart, you didn't even think of them. You didn't have a problem. But now after you met them, now you say, oh, I'm a person who is sad. I'm a person who is mad that they left. But who were you before this person? See, that's the thing. You're the limitless being. But because you think that you're this, as Cesar Siddhartha says, a little insect in the desert, you're confused. You think, okay, if I don't have water, then that means I'm a limited being who suffers and I'm going to die. That's how people treat heartbreak, is that they treat it like water. I mean, that's how people treat romantic love, is they treat it like water, in a sense that if they don't have it, then they feel like they're going to die. But the beauty of this is that when you realize you're not that little insect in the desert, then you realize that truly you are God. You are like a lion. But the problem is that we are so focused on appeasing this ego. Oh, I need to get a wife because I deserve this and that. I need to have this and that. But the beauty of knowing that you don't need anything is that you're not begging anything from existence. Now, I'm not saying you let people take advantage of you or you let people take from you without giving back. Of course, you have to stick up for yourself in this life. But I'm saying you don't beg existence in the sense that if somebody doesn't want you or you don't get with somebody or somebody leaves you, you're just like, okay, like who cares? Because I'm telling you, the further you go along on spirituality, you could be with somebody, I'm telling you, for like 2 years, and they say, oh, I feel like I want to break up or something. And you'll just be like, okay. And they'll be like, wait, what? I thought you would care more. Because you'll see, a lot of people don't actually care about you. They let the game that they have with you, in a sense, where it's like you validate their ego. And that's a lot of relationships, is validating the ego. Or a lot of friendships is validating the ego. We even have a lust for company, in a sense, Like a lot of people, they only have friendships to just have people around, have a warm body around. But people don't actually truly love who they're around. They just love being around somebody. And that, a lot of relationships are like that. But the beauty of going beyond a need for somebody is you find your true self. Because I'm telling you, when you don't need people around, you get an opportunity to practice true meditation and learn under the Sadguru. But when you're distracted by this world, distracted on this nonsense and that nonsense, and you can't truly listen to the Sadguru and take in his teachings. Because a lot of people, they would rather give money to a beautiful woman who is going to take all their money or do this and that, or is not really giving anything back, or helping them progress spiritually, rather than give to the Sadguru and sacrifice material items to the Sadguru to give as Daksina. And the beauty, what Daksina represents is it's a transfer of energy, in a sense that it's devoting from your focus from material life to spiritual life. And not that you can't achieve in material life, but because you're not attached to material life, then you can better achieve in material life, because your focus is on spirituality and peace. Because I'm telling you, peace is the strongest vibration. Everything that appears ends in peace. Even the greatest conflicts, they end in peace. Whether somebody is dead or in jail, or they forgive each other, it always ends in peace. And that's the beauty of peace, is that when you realize, and when you put it above all, when you put the Sadguru above all, then everything flows smoothly and beautifully. But when you're chasing after existence, then she runs away from you. That's how Maya is. Maya is like a woman who leads you on. She says, I love you. Then you say, okay, let's plan a date. Then she never shows up. But the beauty of that is that because she didn't show up, now you can focus on the Sadguru, and now you can focus on reaching the highest self and the limitless self. And it's the same thing as a man. He promises you, I'll give you this and that, and he gives you nothing, in a sense. There's a story about this woman who, she was with this old man, and he was like 90 something, and she was like 25, and she was clearly only using the man to, for his to get in his will. And then, but after, the man left her nothing. And for 7 years, she was fighting in court to try to get that money. And she ended up getting nothing. And the beauty of that lesson is that she fought so hard to get that money and ended up with nothing. She basically sold her soul, and she actually died early. She died before she could even get the money. And it shows you how when you lust after things, you have to sell a part of yourself. In the sense that you have to give a part of yourself to get really nothing in return. Like, even if you get a kingdom, it's really nothing. Because there's a saying, the one who wears the crown, his head is heavy. In the sense that people think that being a king is this glorious thing, but when you have so much opulence, when you have so much wealth, you get bored of that stuff. And when you have so much woman, you start to not value woman as much anymore, and you start not to value anything really. In the sense that your life is full of jealousy by other people trying to usurp you. So a lot of people think the reaching the heights of material wealth will make them happy. Wow, there's no problem with doing that, or you can be wise and a king, or you can be enlightened and a king. But to think that being a king or reaching the highest state of material wealth will make you happy, or having the most women will make you happy, is a huge mistake. It'll sell your happiness to the outside. That's what selling your soul is. Selling your happiness to the exterior. Selling your soul to Maya. That is what I call it. And what you should really do is put your focus on the sage who is telling you to go beyond all need, going beyond the need for love, lust, or anything, and practice under the sage who is guiding you to a state beyond a need for anything.